All right, we are now in the sales team site for GlobalMantics. We're signed in today as Alice Bowers. Alice is our director of new business at GlobalMantics. And as such, she has a very large Excel spreadsheet that has a little over 1,000 names of some international clients or customers that we'd like to try and sell some new business to here at GlobalMantics. And she would like to get this information into SharePoint so that the rest of the team can share it and look at it and work with it, and they'll have it, wherever they need it. So what we're going to do is import this data from Excel into SharePoint. Now, before we do that, though, we have to talk a little bit about what you need to make sure that you understand about Excel before we try to bring it into SharePoint. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and open up our file here. Now, we deal only with, Cheryl only deals with people in the Western Hemisphere, and we have a lot of clients in Canada and Brazil. Those are the people we're dealing with today. So we have about, let's take a look. Let's get down here. Yeah, we have 1,073 rows of data, 1,073 customers from both, like I said, Canada and Brazil. And that's a lot of data to bring in. If we were going to try and add this data to SharePoint in a list one by one, that would take somebody a lot of time to type all of that in. So this is going to be much easier. Now, when we go ahead and import this into SharePoint, SharePoint is going to be looking for the range of data that we want to import. Now, we're going to import the entire sheet, all of the data that's on here. So we're going to select from A1 down to, what do we say, I-1073. And you're going to see that we're going to have three options. It's going to look for either a table range, a named range, or a range of cells. So this, although it may look like a table, technically it is not formatted as a table. But let me show you what that's going to mean. Now, I just clicked anywhere, and quite honestly, I could have just stayed right here. We go to Insert and choose Table, and notice that it selects that range. All of the data that we have, A1 through I-1073, and my table has headers. Also very important, your data wants to have clearly defined column headers, which we do here. So we're going to choose OK. And see, it formatted this as a table. Now, it did more than just give it blue and white lines between each row of data. It went ahead and added filters up here at the top. And it's now formatted as a table. So if we save this like this, when we go to import, it would recognize this as a table. And if we said, yes, we wanted to select that table and import it, it would go ahead and do that for us. But that's not what I want to do. I just want to show you this is one way to do it. You don't have to do it this way. If you don't have any necessity to have your data formatted as a table here in Excel, there's no reason to do this. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to undo that. Then we're going to go and select this entire table, and we're going to give it a name. See, I selected here the whole table, all of the data that we have in this worksheet. It's all highlighted. And up here in the name box, I'm going to click, and I'm going to give this a name. I'm just going to type in customers and hit enter. And now that is the name of this range. This is now a named range. And when I click off of it, it just gives me the cell name. But if I choose the drop down and select customers, once again, see, it selects that entire range. Now that's what I'm going to do. That's what I like to do, because you don't always necessarily need your data in Excel formatted as a table. So we named that range. And I don't have to take all of it. If I only wanted to take, say, the first 500 rows, I could name that as a range. I could continue to name little sections of this data, and I could choose to import any one of those that I wanted. And the other thing, like I said, is we could go ahead and type in that we want to bring in the range from A1 to I-1073, or whatever it was, if we were only going to do to I-500. So this is good to go. We're going to save that, and now we're going to go back to our SharePoint and go through the process of importing it. And you'll see, if you're not clear about what I'm talking about, you're going to see it all here in just a second. So to do this, we're going to go to Site Contents and add an app. And so far, we've been dealing with this custom list. Now, this is not what we're going to do. We actually have an app which is called Import Spreadsheet. But notice it has the same icon. It has an Excel icon and the little custom list icon. So, and the little arrow. Couldn't be any more obvious. That's what we're going to do. And in fact, you saw we had a lot of apps. If we wanted to search for it, we could just type in import and hit search, and it'll just bring up that one app. That's what we want. It's going to import that data as a list. Let's click on that. We have to give our data a name, so we'll simply call this one Customers Non-US. And we're going to select that file and choose Import. Now, this is what I was talking about. First of all, notice what's happening behind here. It kind of opens up that worksheet right there behind us so we can kind of see what's going on. At the top of this window, and this is a separate window, we see table range. This is what I was talking to you. If we had saved this workbook as a table, if we would have saved that data as a table, that table range would have been available at this dropdown. There would have been a name for it, but it's not there because we didn't save it that way. When we select the dropdown again, we see range of cells, and if we choose that, we would have to type in, and it's already got A1 because that is the cell that is selected in the workbook. We would type in A1 to, what did we say, I-1073, or whatever we wanted, and we could do that. Or what we did was we went ahead and we created a named range called customers. And see, look what happened. It selected all of our data again. That's what we want. Now we're going to go ahead and click Import. And this is going to take a little bit of time. Look down here underneath the window at the bottom of this Excel workbook. See that little progress bar? It's bringing all that data in. And notice that it suddenly formatted this Excel workbook to look like a table. It's not going to do that. If we go ahead, when this is done and we open up this Excel workbook again, it's not going to look like that. It's not going to save that table formatting to that workbook. It's going to look just like it did when we looked at it before. It just is doing that so that it can bring this in for us like it just did. Look at that. There it is. There are all 1,073 rows. Now we have by default, we're only getting 30 rows per page. And trust me, that makes it a lot easier. You can tell it to show all of the rows at one time, but it works a lot slower. 30 seems to be a really good number, and you can keep paging through them till you get there. But there's our data. Looking pretty good, huh? A lot easier than trying to type all of that in. All right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go and work with views. We're going to show you how you can change the view in the way that you look at this data and the way that you work with this data, and show you how to sort and filter this data, which you're going to find that when you have a lot of data like this, filtering can really, really help you narrow down what you're looking for.